Sam.
Yeah.
Hey, you been reading a book lately?
I've been reading a book.
Got any recommendations for a book that I could be reading the same time as you? Maybe we could discuss it.
Yeah, maybe the Bible.
Oh,
okay. Think about that.
Not what I expected. Not what I was thinking when you were gonna say.
No, the book I've been reading most recently has been the end of part 4 of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson from the Starlight Archive.
That's what I've been reading.
And holy moly!
Oh my goodness!
What a good section.
We have hit the waterfall. Look at these notes. Oh my goodness! I just looked at these now. Look at how many there are.
You got a lot of notes. You got a lot of notes. It's getting cool up in here. It's getting real cool.
It's getting insane.
Dalinar, it just gets better every moment he exists,
yep.
Kaladin as well,
yep. And other characters are also
some
present.
characters are taking steps backwards.
Yeah.
It varies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
there's plenty of characters, plenty of motives, steps being taken in directions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's attempt to summarize this in a somewhat brief way, shall we?
I mean, it's super easy to summarize, isn't it?
Mm.
Like, we start out, they're still doing these bridge runs where people run in the front as decoys, and that is going just swell.
Mm-hmm.
It's going really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see a talk where Dalinar and Navani are walking through a garden, and they're like, yep, we're a thing now, and we're just going to deal with the consequences and be kind of sneaky about it.
Yep.
And that's all cool. And then, the horns blow. A plateau assault is gonna happen now.
And it's on the tower where they've never won because it's real close to the Parshendi side.
And it's huge, and apparently it only has 2 sides you can approach from, which makes it the perfect point to corner a large force and eliminate them completely with no chance of escape.
So Dalinar's like, me and Sadeas, we're gonna end this thing once and for all.
We're gonna go take out 10,000 Parshendi in one fell swoop.
And they won't be able to fight the war because they'll lose too many people.
Yep, Sadeas, he's the one who suggests this full-fledged, take him out assault. And Dalinar's like, well, hot dog, yeah, that's totally in line with what I was talking about. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, the rest of the chapter is just
them doing it.
They do it. They do it. And how does it go, John? Does it go well?
No.
Ooh, bummer.
Because Sadeas is like, oh, JK, I'm out of here. The betrayal that's been kind of foreshadowed this whole time, this is it.
We predicted Sadeas was a Snape, but it turns out we needed to get rid of that P and replace it with a K.
The P? A snake. Ah.
Thank you, John. It took you a real long time to get there, didn't it?
I'm 1.5 drinks in. Let's go.
Oh, dude, these I got nothing in them. All right.
Yeah, so Sadeas is like, it was this whole plan, and he leaves so that Dalinar's army gets surrounded by 3 sides, and he's got all the bridges, so he takes all the bridges with him, and they're just leaving him to die on that plane.
Dalinar has been abandoned. He is doomed alongside his son Adolin and all of his men.
Yep,
they're just completely hosed.
It's like 8,000 men or something.
It's like 8,000 men.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And Sadeas' plan is to go back home and tell everybody, man, we tried our best. All of us together collectively tried really hard.
But there were just too many.
But alas, it just wasn't meant to be. And despite my best efforts, Dalinar has fallen in battle.
Yep.
And, and they're all heading back. The bridges are heading back, including Kaladin's bridge. Mm-hmm. And they're all just looking over their shoulders. They walk away like, man, this is kind of blows. It's no secret to anybody there that Sadeas, this was a betrayal, right?
Right. It's pretty clear what's going on.
And they're looking backwards over their shoulders, and their bridge is falling behind because they got injured people to carry and whatnot. And Kaladin is like, I have an idea. Maybe we could use this opportunity
to run away.
Escape.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, we'll just follow.
Take up the rear.
Because we're gonna be going real slow. We wouldn't want to slow everyone down. You know how it is. And the guy's like,
all right.
Yeah, okay. So they're going real slow. Kaladin's like, guys, we did it. We can run away
here,
now.
Yeah.
And they'll think we got hunted down.
We'll just follow further and further behind, and then we'll just outski. They'll think we died to the Parshendi.
This is El Perfecto. But then his men, it turns out Kaladin's rubbed off on him a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, how can we just leave when there are all of those people that we could be saving, right? Mm-hmm. And Kaladin's like,
guys, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. So they decide that instead of using this opportunity to escape, which sounds like it would have worked, right? Mm-hmm. They decide to instead go try to bail out Dalinar and all his men.
Yep.
So they run back over with their bridge and they place it, and Kaladin says the second set of words of radiance or whatever,
Yep.
and they're getting the bridge set, and he runs up, and just like as when a bridge is closing over a river and a car drives over it before it's fully closed, Kaladin runs, he leaps off the bridge. He's like
over the chasm,
like that scene from Thor Ragnarok where Thor is falling into all those monsters with lightning coming behind him. Have you seen that?
Nope.
You should set that as your wallpaper, even if you haven't seen the film.
Okay.
Really good Marvel movie. Best Thor film.
Good
easily.
old, what's his name?
Taika Waititi. Yes. So he comes flying down, and Kaladin kills the heck out of a bunch of Parshan.
Just starts going crazy.
And everyone is like, what do we do? What do we do? And Kaladin's like, I'm in charge now. And they're like, who are you? Okay. And
he's like, tell you guys to retreat. Get out of here. And they're like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Adolin, tell you guys to retreat. He's like, we kind of have to protect him. And he's like, Adolin, tell you guys to retreat. And he's like, gotta go after Dalinar. And he's like, okay.
He's like, Adolin, tell your guys. Am I stuttering, Adolin? Right. Is there some reason? Do you not speak Alethi, Adolin? So Adolin, eventually, through Kaladin's weird impromptu leadership, they get like everybody out of there, and Kaladin has some PTSD flashbacks to last time he ran to save a Light-Eye Bright Lord from a shard bearer, right?
Yep.
And he's like, get out of here, PTSD, I'm busy. Yeah. And he goes up and he saves Dalinar, and it was very cool.
Yep.
And Dalinar is like, whoa, I'm delirious, what's happening? Yeah. And Kaladin's like, get up on your feet.
On your horse, let's go.
Yeah. And they get the heck out of there, and Kaladin's like, oh man, we did it. But as we all know, you never get rewarded for helping a Light Eyes. So I'm sure
Dalinar will betray me because every Light Eyes is terrible.
We're just all going to get executed or something. And they head back, and Dalinar's like, no, dude, I'm not going to.
Yeah, he's like, what can I do for you? Anything like, you want.
We'll get you. You guys are not bridgemen anymore. Forget that, because you're cool
heroes.
Dudes.
Yeah.
And
then they get back to Sadeas' camp, and Sadeas is like, Dalinar, whew, thank goodness you're alive.
Whoa,
buddy boy.
That's crazy. I thought you were going to die.
And Dalinar's like, okay, why though? And then they had that little conversation we'll discuss.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, I'm taking the bridgeman though. That's cool. And Sadeas is like, no price. No price is high enough. And Dalinar's like, you want the shard blade?
Do you want my cool sword, Oathbringer?
Oathbringer. And Sadeas was like, okay, all right, I spoke too soon.
And in that moment, the sword lived up to its namesake, did it not? Because he fulfilled his oath to Kaladin by trading it away, which was just very cool, kind of poetic. And so Dalinar gave Sadeas his shard blade, which Sadeas was coveting the heck out of.
Yep. And so he gets all the bridgemen in, not just Kaladin's room,
yes,
but all
every single bridgeman in Sadeas' camps is now, I guess, a free man.
We'll see what happens, yeah.
And Dalinar's cool, so I think it's probably going to work out great. Yeah.
So then after that, Dalinar goes and talks to Elhokar and just beats the shit out of him.
Yep. He's like, listen here, you little shit, right? If I wanted to kill you, I could have done it at any time.
Yeah, he's like, I can kill you right now. Do you understand? And Elhokar's like, what? So why are you doing this?
I've been trying to communicate to you through mutual respect, but that hasn't been working.
But you're acting like a kid, and I'm going to kill you for it. And he's like, oh, what?
No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah.
But I am banging your mom.
Right, yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, it was
and he's
good.
like,
and
Elhokar's like, all right, I cut my own strap. You got me. Whoa.
Yeah, what the heck, Elhokar?
Yeah. And then he's like, I'm going to be a High Prince of War. We're going to unite all these people because they're children, and we're going to make them follow the codes, and everything's going to be awesome. And Elhokar's like, all right, geez, whatever, man, whatever you want. And that's
it was cool. It was cool. All right, let's go back. I mean, even in our summary, we talked about a bunch of my favorite parts already. It's just lots of cool stuff happened.
Yeah, let's get into it.
You know what? A lot of the battle kind of blurs together for me. I don't know if I want to talk about that like chapter by chapter so much as like maybe do all three of those chapters kind of at once.
Because I have like a certain amount of notes, so I'm just going to go find the ones that like actually might spark some sort of discussion.
So what I'm thinking is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to read all the death rattles just in one go now.
Yeah, go for it.
And we can kind of talk about those and then we'll move on. I wish to sleep. I know now why you do what you do, and I hate you for it. I will not speak of the truths I see. Dunno.
All right.
Someone's doing some stuff, and it's apparently
kind of understandable, but still not cool.
It's bad, but also maybe for a greater good, which is why they're not going to speak of it. I don't know.
Yep.
The fact that they're using the word, I will not speak of the truths I see, it makes me think of the way, like, the Shin use the word, like, truthless, you know, whatever.
Oh, sure.
But that's all I got. All right. They come from the pit, 2 dead men, a heart in their hands, and I know that I have seen true glory.
Yeah, whoa. 2 dead men with a beating heart. This is some Temple of Doom
Well, it doesn't
nonsense.
say beating.
Well,
heart,
yeah.
It could be a gem heart.
Right.
But 2 guys.
Yeah. I just wanted to make the Temple of Doom reference, but anyway. You know, where he pulls the guy's heart out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right,
what is Temple of Doom? Is that
Indiana Jones? Yeah.
Okay.
It's the second one, probably the worst one. Anyway.
Worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
It's debatable. It's between those two, clearly, but...
I see them. They are rocks. They are the vengeful spirits, eyes of red. Well, we've seen big rock monsters in Dalinar's visions, right?
The... Big rock monsters.
Big rock monsters. When he was back and he was looking down at old Alethkar with Noadon, and there were like these giant freaking rock monsters dead in the streets.
Right.
So maybe they are literally rocks.
Yeah.
That chanting, that singing, those rasping voices.
Ooh.
That just sounds. Hey, we know a whole race of people who that could apply
like to do that kind of thing. Yeah.
Let me no longer hurt. Let me no longer weep. Dagon Narthis, the black fisher, holds my sorrow and consumes it.
All right.
Okay, this is like when we briefly heard the Night Mother or whatever.
Night Watcher.
Night Watcher is one thing, but we heard the something mother.
Oh,
the Shadow Mother. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
This is like that, where I'm sure this is another important piece of lore that will eventually come up.
Right.
But so far we've heard
We'll go back and
it.
read all these death rattles after the series. We'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But until then.
They named it the Final Desolation, but they lied. Our gods lied. Oh, how they lied. The Everstorm comes. I hear its whispers. See its storm wall. Know its heart.
Mm-hmm. And this one, I think, in the little passage was like particularly notable, or whatever.
I don't know if anybody worshipped the heralds as gods. Maybe somebody did, because I mean, the heralds are the ones who would have lied about this.
Makes sense, yeah. They're certainly godlike in their abilities and everything.
Yeah. All is withdrawn from me. I stand against the one who saved my life. I protect the one who killed my promises. I raise my hand. The storm responds. I stand against the one who saved my life. Rude.
Yeah.
I protect the one who killed my promises. Weird.
Yep.
I raise my hand, the storm responds. That sounds like they're using some Stormlight powers, you know.
Yep.
All right, hey, that's all for that. Cool beans.
All right.
Now let's talk big battle. Well, I guess first let's talk small battle.
Sure, yeah.
So Shen is catatonic now. He's not doing anything or talking to anybody because he's so sad because all of his friends are wearing the carapaces of his dead friends. You know? Which I understand. That's understandably kind of scarring.
That would be pretty terrible to watch.
I also write here, it's crazy that all of the Bridgemen want to play Dodge Arrow. You know?
Yeah, they're all like,
oh,
I want to do
throw
it.
me up front.
Yeah.
I want to get shot at.
Yeah, then they're talking about their training with the spears, and they're like, hey, Kaladin, come show these guys how to do this. And he's like, nope, don't give me a spear until it's time to go, because I will lose control.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, kind of makes sense.
Moash seeks vengeance.
Yeah.
But on who? For what?
Right.
It must surely be a Light Eyes, because he's with Kaladin in the I Hate All Light Eyes club, right?
Yep, same position. He's like, hey, yeah, thanks for enabling me to, maybe do this someday, because this is my one thing that I'm on about.
Man, Kaladin, you are really arming me with everything I need to go murder some fools. So
and
thanks
Kaladin's
for that, bro.
like, yeah, you're a cool dude. And he mentions, like, he likes Moash more because he doesn't revere him as much as the other Bridgemen. He just, like, sees him as human, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I have here. Moash doesn't regard Kaladin with as much reverence. And this made me think, what's that one interview strategy you talk about where you want to tell them about something that, like, they can't even... It like sounds impossible. You're like applying for a job, John. You've told me about this so many times. And you go in and you talk about something that like they can't even imagine themselves doing.
Oh yes, no. Tyler Shad's told you about this a million times.
No, you've told me about him telling you about this. Maybe times.
It's the
I've never heard about this from Tyler.
It's like the non-simulation idea or something, where you tell them an accomplishment that you've had that they can't imagine them doing themselves. Like you have to explain how you did it completely because they can't even put themselves in that position or whatever. And that's the most impressive thing or something.
So this makes me think about how Kaladin, he's done some crazy stuff in his past, and Kaladin's whole character to like all these regiments seems like totally insane.
Sure.
You know, like they cannot imagine themselves
Right.
in those shoes. But Moash, I think he kind of can.
Yeah.
Moash kind of relates, you know.
Yeah.
So
right, he's in a similar position. He just didn't take up the mantle like Kaladin did, but he probably could have, you know, or at least he can see himself maybe doing that. Yeah, I know. I see where you're coming from. All right.
Anything else from that chapter for you?
Just a really tiny thing. He tries to tell Sigzil that he saw Hoyd and told him that he can be a full world singer, and Sigzil was like, don't talk to me about that.
Yep.
So that was lame.
I write, what happened to Dalinar's wife? She's
Yeah.
dead, right?
Yeah.
She's dead.
There's a cool thing. There was when they mention in the sentences and her name gets blurred out or whatever.
Yeah.
There's it's just a cool way they represent it in the book. And
Yeah.
I wrote down the page.
The way it's represented in the audiobook is my whole camera going, psh. It's like static noise.
Because it's like, it's a shh, but it's in like lighter font.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen in a book having like a different color for the font. I was like, wow.
Interesting.
But, yep. Just thought that was kind of neat. But yeah, no, it sounds like she is dead. And he's like talking to Navani because Navani brings her up and he's like, yeah, what did you think of her?
Yeah.
Just to like get some information because he has nothing, right? Due to his like messing with the old magic that we learned about last time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But what happened to her? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she didn't just peacefully pass away in her sleep.
Right, yeah.
That's
probably
not
didn't die of natural causes.
That's not the fantasy epic way, is it?
Right,
I mean,
no. And I mean, if she was, presumably a similar age to Dalinar, like she was probably what, in her like 50s, or no, even younger when she would have died.
yeah.
Even though this
I
was in
mean,
the past.
well, their sons are both like 20-ish, right?
Well, it says
25.
it says that he's 50 in like the last chapter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was gonna extrapolate. I was gonna assume
Right. I saw you were like
parents are like
drawing up the whole-
20-ish years older than their kids.
right.
You know,
Which
on
they
average.
say Adolin's in his 20s and then the Dalinar's in his 50s.
I'm pretty sure that Adolin is like 24 or 25.
Yeah,
I
that sounds about
remember
right.
Adolin being like exactly our age.
yeah.
And then Kaladin being much younger. Kaladin's
Right.
like 2021 right now.
Yep.
Because he was 19, and
When
then
this like all started. Yeah.
and then 8 months passed when he was in slavery, and then he joined the bridge crew, and then several more months passed, so he's probably 20 now.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't know, but she was probably somewhat, 50s or younger when she died for some reason that we don't know.
Yeah. When Kaladin and all his men are like charging forward, wearing the armor, they walk out all wearing this like baller armor,
Right,
and,
yeah.
like painted stuff on it,
Mm-hmm.
and all the other bridgemen start cheering them. I was like,
Whoa.
oh no, this is a bad
Yep.
sign.
Right,
Like
yeah.
like whenever everything is going too well, that's when everything is about to go really bad.
Yeah. I literally,
So-
the last note I have from that chapter is I have a bad feeling.
Yep.
The only other like interesting thing I might have from that, well, I mean, it was Dalinar was saying he's talking to Navani, and he says he's a man of extremes, but he has to dedicate himself to something, so he will like keep himself on the straight and narrow, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of relate to that in a way, like if
Yeah.
I don't have something I care about, I just don't do anything,
All the time, I'm always like, man, if it weren't for the oath of poverty I took, I would be this close to killing everyone around me at a given time.
Yeah.
And I'm like always thinking about that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Navani,
man.
also when she's talking to him, she says, like, we have to do all this stuff for our cause.
Yeah.
But, like, Dalinar has never brought up his whole unite. Well, he has through the visions, but it seems like Navani's, like, taken that up or as some sort of ideal for them working
Dalinar
together.
is saying, like, we don't even know exactly what our cause is,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think it's just showing that, like, I don't think that Navani has plans to, like, betray Dalinar.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying.
It's just, I don't know, it's kind of cool that
Right.
she's just instantly like, all right, everything you want, I
Right,
want.
yeah, that's
We're
what
a
I was,
team.
that's what I was saying. Like, she's already, like, so invested in what he's trying to do.
Yeah. I was like, man, maybe that would be kind of cool to be in a romantic relationship.
where you're like working as a team with the other person.
Can you imagine that, where both of you just have this mutual understanding? Everything you want, I want.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Like that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even just like, I don't know, sometimes I'm reading these books
Mm-hmm.
and you have your main character, Kaladin, who's doing all the coolest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bunch of people who are just like
Yeah.
dedicated to Kaladin.
Right, yeah.
And their purpose is just to do what Kaladin wants. And sometimes I'm like, that sounds kind of cool.
Right.
Can you imagine meeting someone so awesome where you're just like, all right, you're the
Man,
boss. Like,
yeah,
tell me,
like-
I am your tool. You know?
Right. And I'm so okay with that because what you do, I agree with wholeheartedly.
Yeah, like I sleep easy, dude, because I know we're the freaking good guys.
Right.
You know,
we're
like,
doing what's best for the world.
what you want is what is right, and that's just. I mean, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah,
just to have such clear purpose.
Mm-hmm. Someday.
If only life weren't meaningless.
We're fine.
Yeah, it's all funny jokes, guys. We don't feel this way. All right.
So yeah, and then I have
Adolin-
oh boy, here we go. Oh, are
wait,
you still on
not
this
there
chapter?
yet,
Okay, okay.
yeah. Adolin was talking about how, like, you know what, I'm happy I was wrong.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
happy Dad is right. And
Yep.
I was like, didn't we already go over this? Like, I feel like that happened in
Right,
the previous
right.
chapter. I was kind of
I
redundant.
don't know. I felt a little better about it because, like I mentioned last time, it was like a snap decision. So this
Yeah.
just like reassured it in a more, like I don't know. I thought the reiterating was kind of good to like
Okay.
convince me that he actually believed it.
Yeah, I wrote, is it time for Adolin's redemption arc? Now,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that our wonderful author Brandon Sanderson intended Adolin to come across as a bad character up to this point.
Right.
But I personally
He
just
hasn't
like
been
him so much.
amazing.
It feels like he needs a redemption arc.
I mean,
to me.
I didn't dislike him, but yeah, he certainly wasn't super impressive up until now.
And then also, Sadius does something here. What does he do? Talking about how the codes are good. Oh, wait, no, it's...
Oh yeah, he says something.
They're just about to leave for the assault. Sadius is, like, turning to go.
Dalinar says something to him, and he's like, "Oh,
Sa-
maybe you're rubbing off on me." or
Yeah,
something.
maybe you're rubbing off on me. It was like
Yeah.
something like that. And I was like, and I wrote down the line, see, Sadius is trying to earn Dalinar points. And then they're talking about how they're going to ride off to end the war. And I'm like, okay, here's the waterfall.
Yep. Here we
Now,
are.
John's used the term waterfall a number of times.
Right, but I've not actually
But we
explained
haven't
it.
explained it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brandon Sanderson tends to do a thing in his books where stuff is happening, and it's happening, and it's happening, and then suddenly the rate at which stuff is happening quadruples. And you just have this whole chunk right around the climax of the book where like all of these divergent threads are just like all coming in at once,
Right.
and you have characters flying out of the woodworks and doing backflips,
Yeah.
and it gets really cool.
So like normally how a story works is you have your exposition and then your rising action, and then your climax, and then your falling action, and your denouement, where you tie up all the strings or whatever. And Brandon Sanderson, he's like exposition, rising action, exposition, rising action. He just keeps kind of going, and then it's like climax denouement, but he screams that all like 120 miles an hour with the bookends, and you're just like, whoa, jeez,
yeah.
and everything just happens at once. But it's fun,
So yeah, here comes the waterfall, I write, as they're about to go try to end the war. I'm like, yeah, that's waterfall.
Yeah, that's my oh boy, here we go note.
And then we get that entire first section, the start of the war, where really it just describes Dalinar messing up a whole bunch of people really bad.
Right,
and
everybody
then he
is
looks
going
down at
across
the
the
face
chasm.
of some kid he's about to kill, and he's like,
And then he gets the sickness.
This is kind of wrong.
Yeah.
And then Adolin's like, hey, Dad. And Dalinar's like, what? Yeah. And he looks, and they see Sadius retreating, and they're like, huh.
Jeez.
Well, beans.
Well, beans.
This is not good.
I was so conflicted because Sadius is so good at manipulating people. He manipulated me. I was like, there's no way this is what's happening.
Oh, really?
I had
see, once we got to this part, I remembered. I was like, oh, that's right.
right, yeah, because we read it before.
Sadius
Yeah.
does do this.
Yeah, I've like, oh no, Sadius was retreating and leaving Dalinar's army to die. This was the big foreshadowy betrayal. Surely this isn't true. Surely Sadius isn't a bad guy. Come on.
No, turns out Sadius is a bad guy,
Yeah.
not a Snape.
No, my very next note at the beginning of the chapter is, I guess Sadius is a real POS traitor.
Yeah.
And then Kaladin, he sees all this happening, and he says that, this betrayal in comparison to Amaran's betrayal of him is like trivial. And I was like, ooh, that's like big words from Kaladin, who already hates everybody involved in this situation.
Oh,
but
yeah, no, Sadius is...
Can't really blame him, yeah.
I mean, condemning 8,000 of your allies to death,
Yeah,
like, that's
pretty insane. One, your good friend, yeah.
Not a very nice thing to do.
No, pretty,
that's for sure.
Pretty lame, yeah.
Probably not going to heaven for that move.
Yeah. Oh, just a quick thing before we, go too much further. When he is looking at the kid, and he's like, oh man, we really don't understand these people, but they are kind of people. Does unite them include them? I don't know.
See, and that's similar. That's similar to Kaladin's whole thing. Because remember, Kaladin, right at the start, it was them versus us, and them was just Kaladin. I'm talking about post flashbacks, when he's just locked up with all those other slaves.
Yeah.
us is Kaladin, them is everybody else.
Right,
Kaladin
the
against
world,
the world,
yeah.
right? And then Kaladin has that first revelation where he's about to kill himself in the chasm. He's about to jump into the chasm, right? And he's like, maybe I will give it one more try, right? Maybe I'll try to save these guys after all. And suddenly, us is Bridge 4, and them is everybody else,
Right.
you know?
Bridge 4 against the world.
And then Bridge 4 kind of starts getting their stuff figured out, and Dunny dies, and Kaladin is like, well, let's start saving other people. Screw
Right.
it, you know?
So
And
then it's
suddenly,
all the Bridgemen.
Now us is, the Bridgemen, and them is everybody else.
Against the
And
world.
even at this point, the way he's talking, he's looking at Sadeas' army and thinking like, are they us? Are they
Right.
us also? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And
I don't think he's quite made that jump. But,
and now,
or at least
you
at this
know,
point.
like Kaladin's us just keeps expanding, and
Right.
that's kind of the way like Syl is talking to him as well. Like, just save people, dude. Just save people. It
Right.
makes it sound like us is eventually maybe just going to be everybody.
Everybody,
Kaladin
yeah.
just wants to protect everybody who cannot protect themselves, right?
Which has kind of been his thing from the beginning. He just didn't really come into it
I
until
don't know.
now.
It's just happening.
Right.
It's just happening and happening and happening, right? So Kaladin eventually, I mean, he's going to be, and Dalinar is kind of making this same sort of thing where he's like, up to this point, Dalinar has been us has been the Alethi people.
Right.
And I was looking at this parchment kit, and he's like, wait just a minute,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that Dalinar and Kaladin are both just like, their instincts tell them just like, be cool superheroes, you know?
Right, yeah, yeah.
And like
And
eventually,
they're
I think
both
they're just gonna get there.
All right, yeah.
So what happens next? I mean, there's the Adolin, or they're like both doomed in battle. Adolin and Dalinar are fighting alongside each other, and Adolin's like, "You suck! I told you this was gonna happen."
Right, and
This is a
Dalinar's
bad
like, he's like,
idea."
just say I told you so, and he
Yeah.
was like, I told you
And
so, I
Adolin's like,
did.
yeah, I did tell you so. And I'm like, no,
Right.
wait a minute, Adolin. Like, literally
just
30
moments
pages
ago.
ago, you were
Yeah.
talking about how you were so happy your dad was right
Yeah.
and you were wrong.
But then he's like, well, but I don't blame you for following the codes and stuff. And then he has like a moment of maturity. I'm like, all right, Adolin.
Yeah,
all right,
Adolin
hey.
was like, hey, we are doomed, but I respect the path we took to get to this doomed state.
Adolin
you
is
know?
like he's gone from kind of immature kid to sort of like a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of deal. And that's fine.
It's still forward
Right,
motion.
it'll get him there.
Also, he gets handed some water in a thingy, and Dalinar says it had the metallic taste of storm
Oh
water.
yeah,
I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Why does storm water taste metallic?
right. Yeah, that has never been brought up. I thought that was gonna have something to do with something, but.
All right. Anything else there? Because now I'm about to switch over to Kaladin's perspective.
Last thing is basically Dalinar's like, all right, man, we're gonna die here, but hey, it's all about the journey. Let's fight them, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Everyone's like, oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah, they don't cheer or anything, but they stand up a little straighter. They're like, well, all right.
All right, we'll
Here we
fight.
go.
We'll fight till we die. Whatever.
Yep. Yep. So then back to Kaladin.
Okay, so
So this is when
this
they
is
figure
where
out
Kaladin is hatching a
escape.
plan. He's telling they've been allowed to fall back from everybody else, and Kaladin's like, we did it, guys. We did it. Yes, yes, yes. And
Right.
they're like, well, I don't know if we just want to leave without the other people. And Kaladin's like, I'll go back for them. I'll go back with everyone else. You
Right,
guys
you escape.
And they're like, well,
That doesn't make a
but
lot of
then,
sense.
but then,
and they're getting to the point where Kaladin's no longer like they're Jesus. They're like, well, we can do things with you now. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to do everything.
And Kaladin, there was a line that said Kaladin was like uneasy about his plan, even though it involved him like going back and saving all the other Bridge 4 members later.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
And I wrote down he's uneasy because, as he talked about earlier in a previous chapter, Kaladin isn't content with just saving Bridge 4.
Oh, right,
Because
yeah.
even if he gets these people out of there, then more people are going to come in, and they're not going to do the cool decoy plan, and people will just keep dying.
Right. It doesn't change
I think
the landscape.
Kaladin is uneasy because it's not enough for him to just save Bridge 4.
Right.
He needs to save everybody.
His circle has
you know?
already expanded too far to all the Bridgemen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
right when they decide to actually go try to save Dalinar's army, Syl's like, hey, by the way, I think I'm an honor sprint, and he's like, not now, Syl.
And I was like, wait a minute, yeah, honor sprint. Those are the ones that
Those
are
are the
discerning.
big, powerful
They're
ones.
the
yeah.
discerning sprint
Right.
from.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
hey, Khan, I hate to disturb you, but I'm learning a lot of stuff about myself. I think I'm
Yeah.
an honor sprint. He's like, Syl, literally any other time.
Syl's like,
We can't talk right now.
I'm like becoming like very smart and wise and powerful.
Right.
Just wanted to check in and let you know.
Yeah. There's like one point during the chapter where she's just the size of a regular person, just like hair flowing in the wind, like looking off.
Yeah, just like a white being of light. You know?
I was just like, huh. Anyway.
Yeah. Kaladin's like, Syl, shut up. I'm busy. Yeah.
Oh my God, stop. Yeah. So then they're going back to save Dalinar. I was like so
by
invested.
the way, Syl said that the traits of an honest friend were oaths, promises, and nobility.
Oh, yep.
I was like, nobility. I wonder if Kaladin, maybe way back in his lineage, you know.
Oh, sure, yeah.
There are the countries where you don't need light eyes.
Right.
To be a ruling class, right?
You just gotta be really old or whatever.
Or maybe it's not about, you know, noble blood.
Right.
Maybe it's about
a meritocracy, perhaps.
Because I mean, it was said later, even in this very same chapter, that Kaladin was, you know, walking around and talking to people like a Bright Lord, right?
Mm-hmm, yep.
So maybe it's the traits of like the more mental emotional side of nobility than the like physical attribute. Sure. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
And I just write the line here: renegade bridgemen on a rescue mission. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because they were renegade bridgemen on a rescue mission.
Yeah, I just wrote, oh my God, they're gonna save Dalinar. What a story! This is very exciting.
Yeah. I get the feeling that it's almost like all of the bridgemen, you know, they probably don't think of themselves like, oh yeah, we're heroes, right? Mm-hmm. What they probably think is, oh yeah, Kaladin's a hero, right?
And we have to do what he does.
And they're like, they're all just Kaladin fanboys, you know? They want Kaladin to like match this ideal version of Kaladin in their minds.
Oh, sure.
So when Kaladin is like, hey guys, we can just run and not save those guys, and they're all like,
Kaladin, WWKD though.
That doesn't exactly fit my headcanon. So would you mind just...
They're like, Kaladin, what would Kaladin do in this situation? He would go save those guys, and Kaladin's like, oh, you're right.
All right, I guess I would. Yeah. I don't know. That's like
that's a good way to put it.
I don't know if that's what's happening.
Reaching their ideal. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, they all want Kaladin to be like this epic hero.
So they're running.
So then he is.
And they're covered in armor, and the Parshendi are like shooting at him, but they're taking all the stuff in the armor. But then some guys come over on the side, and they're shooting at him from the side, and they're like, oh geez, oh no. And Kaladin's like, oh, side carry right, go. And they're just like, oh, yep, remember that.
And they do that, and then eventually some huge barrage of arrows comes, and Kaladin's like, da-da-da-da. Wait, but first he says the second words, does he not?
I don't remember the order.
I think he does. I will protect those who cannot protect themselves. Mm-hmm. Which is pretty cool. Yep. It's a good line for him.
The second ideal of the Nice Radiant.
Kaladin very well. And I was wondering, did he ever say the first line aloud?
The which one?
The Journey Before Destination, Life Before Death.
Oh no, I don't think so.
I don't think Kaladin ever said that aloud.
Right, because Syl's just like in the back of my mind, like, hey, what are the words, Kaladin? Tell me the words, and he's like, Syl, not now.
And well, it seemed like him saying these words out loud was a trigger, right?
Yeah.
But these are clearly this is the second set of words. He never said
the first
one.
Life Before Death. Journey Before Destination.
Strength Before Weakness.
Yeah.
Well, it's Life Before Death, Strength Before Weakness, Journey Before Destination. Yeah. Man, we can't mess that up.
Yeah. And so then he lashes all of the arrows to his shield kind of unknowingly, and they all hit the shield, and some go like through his arm, but
the shield gets like splintered, like just like he's like anime, like sliding back,
right? Yeah, he like
leaving like those like when a meteor strikes the earth and it leaves like this
gouges,
massive, like this sideways long crater. Imagining that's what his feet are doing. He's like skidding backwards,
and everybody in the bridge just like stops and they're like, whoa!
Yeah, and the shield like crumbles around his arm, and there's just a bunch of arrows sticking out of his arm, and he's like, screw it, don't have time to pull those out right now.
Right, and everybody in the bridge is just like, what?
It was just very cool.
Yeah, that was pretty
also,
sick.
he had finally I think the last Kaladin flashback probably, where we saw the last piece of the puzzle, where Tien dies. Yep. And it was really no new information. It was stuff like
it was just we learned that Varth, who I asked about earlier, was just like, yeah, I mean they were useless. We were just using them as bait, Like they give us these soldiers, they can't do anything. I'll make use of them, Just
a bad sergeant, a bad squad leader.
Yep.
And so Kaladin
is angry at him. But then all the Parshendi see Kaladin use this Stormlight, and they call him Nashua Kadal, which I guess is somebody that can use Stormlight, and they're like freaked out by it.
Yeah,
they're running away.
Time to stop weaving gems in your beards. Because Kaladin is left of the gas, and he's sucking the Stormlight out of all of their gem beards, which is something we've heard about before, but hasn't been relevant up to this point.
Yeah.
And I write that will saying more ideals of the Radiance unlock new powers? Presumably, right? He said Stormlight, after saying the second phrase, Stormlight now works better for him. He said,
he said it was more effective.
So presumably he'll get stronger and stronger as he keeps saying more words.
Nope. Yeah. Then we get to the beginning of the perspective swaps between the two, and the whole battle's raging on. And so Dalinar at this point notices that they're coming to save him or whatever, and he says it's the most amazing and glorious thing he's ever seen.
Yep.
And I was like, I mean, your
these
hour
bridges
of
are
death.
holding the line. Yeah, they set the bridge. They're trying to save all these people. Very cool.
Right.
And then a 7-foot Parshendi in silver shard plate shows up.
Oh boy.
And Dalinar is speculating, why didn't this shard bearer show up earlier? Right. Yeah. Was it because it seems like they didn't show up until it started to fall into question whether or not he was going to escape, right? At first it seemed like he was guaranteed dead. Now the bridgemen are here. Okay, now maybe he can live. And that's when this shardbearer shows up, and he's speculating, like, what did this shardbearer not come out earlier because they wanted to give their men a chance to win my shards, right, or something? And I was like, that sounds weak.
Yeah,
to
that
me.
doesn't sound
like that.
Right.
The fact that the Alethi have this honestly pretty stupid tradition,
right, of whoever kills them gets to win the stuff.
Yeah,
but like only.
All right, you 2,000 people all go die to that shard bearer.
Right, and if one of you wins it, great job.
That would be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the Parshendi operate that way.
So why did this shard bearer wait so long to
And like,
show
where was
up?
he hiding out, just waiting? 7-foot tall dude.
Off on another. Plateau, presumably, because I mean they can leap great distances and all that, right?
So I guess
like the Parshendi can already leap great distances.
No, sure.
And now
so
this one's wearing sharp plate,
So then Dalinar's like, oh boy, I am so exhausted and my plate's shattered, but I guess I gotta fight this guy.
Yep, this is gonna suck.
And then he gets sweat in his eyes and he's like, okay, all right, let's go.
And then we're over to Kaladin, and Kaladin is like, you man, who's in charge? And he's like, I don't know, they're dead. Right. And he's like, okay, well, who's there, boss? They're dead. Okay, well, and
you're promoted.
Yeah. He says, you're promoted. Get all these people out of there. If anybody asks, tell them you're this rank. If they say they're a higher rank than you, send them to me. And the guy's like, can you do that?
What rank are you? And he's like, just go, get out of here.
Yeah. And I thought that was so fun. Yeah. I really enjoyed that exchange.
Like even this guy awesome. Knows he's gonna die, and he's like, but what's the? Do we have the hierarchy to do this?
Yeah, the exact line was the guy said, promoted? Who are you? Can you do that? And Kaladin said, someone needs to. And I was like, well, yeah, someone needed to.
Sense, yeah. And then that's the whole, going down the line of like, he tells Adolin's honor guard that they need to go, and they're like, we gotta protect Adolin. And he tells Adolin to tell his honor guard to leave. He's like, we gotta go back for Dalinar. He's like, if I get Dalinar, will everybody leave? And he's like, yeah, probably. He's like, all right, I'm on it, but get out of here in the meantime.
I like that the leader of the Cobalt Guard is like legit treating Kaladin like an equal.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
like he even apologizes to him at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kaladin's like, get out of here, you dope,
Yeah.
And the guy's like, well, dude, I want to.
Oh, right. He says, we have to protect Adolin. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
And
it was like, oh man, Kaladin's throwing his weight around and it's working.
And it's mentioned a few times. It's like, how's this dark guy's guy, carrying himself with all this charisma?
Yeah, but it's like the whole what's that one film where the guy isn't really a pilot, but he just pretends really hard and everyone believes him.
Oh, jeez.
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can, yeah.
It's like Kaladin is Catch Me If You Can.
Right, he's faking it until he makes it.
He's just acting, like he just has the demeanor of someone who's like in charge, like someone who's a big effing deal, and everyone's like, I guess he's a big deal.
I guess he's a big deal, yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool.
So then,
Kaladin is talking to Adolin like a child, and it's working.
Poor Adolin, man.
Kaladin kind of gains command of the Cobalt Guard, and Adolin's like, okay, follow him. And Kaladin's like, all right, I'm just gonna, all right, cool.
Tell what to do, all right, yep, we're in charge here. And then, meanwhile, Dalinar is fighting this shard bear, and he cuts the rock underneath his feet, so he falls over. But he's so, pooped, he can't really deal with this guy.
I write, saving a light ice from a shard bearer, take 2.
Yep. I legit thought that Kaladin was gonna like kill this guy and be like, hey, you could have 2, pairs of armor without having ever owned one,
Yeah.
But he doesn't quite do that. He just, debilitates him enough by hitting him in the same spot over and over.
Well, before that happens, though, the enemy shard bearer, this Parshendi shard bearer, is beating up Dalinar.
Oh yeah, punching him in the head.
Smashes Dalinar's helmet so that the shard bearer can see his face. And then there's a line, as if searching for something. And I say, what? The shard bearer made sure to explode the helmet first. The shard bearer was looking for something in Dalinar's face. And then the shard bearer says, it is you. I have found you at last.
But Dalinar's like, is he talking to me?
Dalinar's like, what? what?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You just gave me the most sick concussion.
Right.
I cannot
do anything about this.
I can't do this right now.
And he was like, when I read that, I was like, well, he's been on Plateau Assaults before. Like, what do you mean? Like, why does this specific guy need to find him or whatever? But
yeah, I mean, I guess that you don't often get an opportunity to smash the Blackthorn's helmet, do you?
No, yeah.
So.
But here he is.
Yeah.
So then Kaladin's like, all right, gotta go save Dalinar. So he starts running through. He's sucking out Stormlight from the beard gems, and again the people call him the Shua Kadal, and they freak out a little bit, and they're just kind of leaving him alone.
And he leaps in and stabs the enemy Shard-Bearer in the leg, and then dodges back, and then does it again.
And does it like a third time.
And the enemy Shard-Bearer is like, dude,
right.
stop.
And his like leg buckles because the shard plate's too heavy.
Yeah. And Kaladin, this is where Kaladin's like, all right, buddy, come on.
And then his horse comes through, Dalinar's,
And Dalinar is like, should we keep fighting? And
Kaladin's he's like, we can win the shard plate.
No, we should not.
And he's like, you're going to leave all your men to die? Dalinar's like, no, okay, you're right.
Like, all right, no, you're cool, you got you.
Yeah.
And when Kaladin comes bursting out into the clearing to do this fight, it describes him as a man with like long, black, curly hair and a strong face. And I was like, does Kaladin look like Inigo Montoya?
No, he looks like Silas, dude.
No,
it's
John,
just matches my
shut
description.
up. Does he look like Inigo Montoya?
Maybe.
From Princess Bride.
I can see it a little bit, yeah.
I think he might.
Yeah.
So
eventually everybody gets across the bridge, and it just it works out. And then the Parshendi don't chase him across the bridges. They've never done that before. They stick to that. And then Dalinar, turns around to see the Shard-Bearer, and he like salutes him. He's like, "Hey, good fight."
Yeah.
And Dalinar's like, "What?"
Also, when Kaladin came in and did stab that Shard-Bearer a couple of times, they were like surrounded on all sides by Parshendi, and the Parshendi just like didn't attack. Like, they started singing some different song, and it was just like cool.
Yeah, that's when they called him the Thing again, and they were freaked out by the Stormlight.
Did they call him the Thing, or did they just say those words?
Well, they just said Nashua Kadal, which we don't know what that means, but
yeah.
They said that both times they saw him use the Stormlight very, obviously.
And they've reacted to Kaladin using the Stormlight in the past. There have been lines here and there about him charging forwards, and then he yells, right? Or he screams out, and
all the arrows hit around him.
He gets a burst of strength. And then suddenly the Parshendi, they're react to him or something,
out,
I think that's come up before.
So this is just like the extreme of that, but we have a phrase that they say, don't know what it means, but has some relevance to Stormlight somehow.
I wrote, Kaladin just doesn't give an S word. How to take control of the situation 101. Kaladin should teach that class. And then as they're retreating, enemy Shard-Bearer gives Dalinar the salute.
Yep.
And Dalinar's like, right back at you. And I say, now that's the cover of the book. That right there.
Oh, I suppose you're right.
The enemy Shard, that's the one closer to us, that's the Parshendi wearing a red cape.
Yeah.
Dalinar's off on the other side.
I didn't even think of that.
There we go.
So then they're on their way back to the camp, and Dalinar's like, "Yep, I'm gonna take Kaladin and your whole gang with me back to my camp. It's gonna be Gucci gang." And
I guarantee it.
And he's like, "You're gonna start a war with Sadeas?" And he's like, "Well, no, I can't really do that, but he won't do that either."
Yeah, it would throw the whole kingdom into
chaos.
Ruin.
Yeah. But he's like, "But I will take you back. No sweat. Don't worry about it."
I write, Dalinar and Kaladin are now bros. Yes.
Right. I was like, Kaladin.
The meeting of my two. Surely together they are an unstoppable force of good. Right?
I'm like, until it actually happens, Kaladin's not gonna believe it. But surely Dalinar's gonna do it because he's Dalinar. Right? And then we get to chapter 69, where I have a billion notes.
I don't have that many. My first one is, oof. When you tell someone her brother/lover is dead, but then he rides up to camp. #relatable.
Yeah, I wrote.
Happens to me all the time.
Sadeas' lies of Dalinar's death are going to be fun to see pop up later, which they do pretty much immediately. He's really good at manipulating people. He's like, we will get back at them for this. And Navani's like, oh, he seems genuine,
Yeah.
But then Dalinar rides up, and then everything's thrown into question. And Renarin, he's like, oh, I'm the High Prince. I don't know what I'm going to do. Geez.
And he's not, so it's okay.
My dad's dead, and my brother's dead. And then we learn that Dalinar lost about 5,000 men, 5,500 or so. Oh, my goodness.
Hate to see that.
That's insane. He leaves his gauntlet, he has to drop it because it doesn't have the strength. And they were like, yeah, we'll regrow that gauntlet on my armor before they can regrow a whole, set of shard plate from that gauntlet. I'm like, you can do that? What the heck? And then they talk about if they, you know, grow the set from what he has left, then eventually that gauntlet will just turn into dust or whatever that the Parshendi have access to now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, huh, that's how that works. And then, and then they go to Sadeas. Dalinar's like, I'm going to talk to him right now, and Kaladin's like, I'm coming with you. Bridgemen, go back to the camp. They're like, no, we're in this together, come on.
Yeah.
And then, so they all go, and Sadeas is like, oh, thank goodness you're alive. I thought for sure you were dead. I told Navani I saw you die, literally. And he was like, yeah, you know,
like, dude, that was like literally 10 minutes ago.
And Dalinar's like, yeah, I mean, you know, you did what you had to, right, keeping up appearances. And then he steps in and he's like, well, why? Why did you do that? And then we get his, you know, Sadeas' whole explanation. So I'll give you, this is the longest note I have written. It's all in one little.
All right, yeah, read it to me verbatim.
Sadeas wanted to kill Dalinar because he started acting like Gavilar, who wanted to end the war. So Sadeas wanted to win the war himself, and so killing Dalinar would have been a mercy because he's going insane, and it would have been a triumphant end, and would have given Sadeas sole access and sway over Elokar, which would have, you know, had benefits. So he was like, yeah, you know, I saw this opportunity and I took it for all these reasons.
Yep, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy, says Sadeas.
Right. Yeah, I'm not so bad. See, don't you understand why I tried to kill you, Dalinar?
Oh, but he's not a good guy, is he?
Nope.
I write here the note. Do you think that random dude Kaladin promoted is going to stay promoted? I was just thinking about that, like halfway through this chapter. I was like, is that gonna stick?
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
So that's Dalinar's like, he backs up. He's like, well, we'll talk about it later. Hey, we'll see what happens. He's like, I should kill you right now.
Yeah.
And Sadeas is like, hey, that's the way Alethi goes. And he was like, I do admire you, though. I think you're a cool dude, but, you know, that's just how we do it. And I was like, Sadeas is a psychopath.
Yep. Dalinar trades away his Shardblade.
Right before this happens, too, just a real quick thing. Sadeas mentions that Elokar thinks he knows who his assassin was. And Dalinar's like, oh, interesting. Anyway.
To which I write, dear Lord, Dalinar is so cool.
Yeah, because this whole time he's like, I'll give you, you know, 100 bromes for each one of them, and Sadeas is like, no price is high enough.
60 ruby bromes.
Yeah, he's like 1,000, and Kaladin's like, and another light I promise dies to their dumb, stupid idiot. You know,
because Kaladin just can't chill for 10 seconds.
Right, and he's like, Shardblade for all of them. And Kaladin's like,
stabs it right into the middle of the giant justice.
Right, prayer that Navani made. Yeah. And Sadeas is like, oh, okay, all right, I spoke too soon. Sure, yeah, okay. And so then all the bridgemen, he gets them now.
Yep, gets them bridge.
And then Kaladin finally now is like, Dalinar, okay, you're all right.
Kaladin's like, wait a minute, Dalinar's cool. Yeah. Dalinar comes over to Kaladin and he's like, hey, we did it. We got your men out. And Kaladin's like,
you just gave away a Shardblade.
Did you think that was like worth
it
to do all that, you know? Because Dalinar was saying, like, you know, really, I just traded my Shardblade for the lives of all of those men you saved, right? So, like, totally worth it. And Kaladin's looking into his eyes, and Kaladin's like, man.
He believes that.
He believes that it's worth it, yeah.
Because when he asked Dalinar, like, how much is the life worth? And Kaladin's like, well, slave buyers say about 2 emerald bromes if we're going to put a price on it, you know? And he was like, what do you think it is? And Kaladin's like, priceless, because that's what his father says, right?
Yeah.
And so Dalinar's like, yeah, we got a bargain, really.
Yeah.
If a Shardblade's worth one.
Thing for a bunch of priceless things, it's easy math.
Right, stonks. And then
he goes to confront Elokar.
Elokar.
Dalinar just like kicks the door.
Yeah, he walks in. He's like, oh, I heard about some plateau assault. Did that go poorly? And Dalinar was like, yep, and just Spartan kicks him in the chest.
Spartan kicks him. You know, Elokar's just wearing all his plate.
Right, just casually.
Just because he's so paranoid,
he's so
I guess.
afraid of being assassinated.
And
he's yelling like, guards, I'm being assassinated. And he summons his Shardblade, and Dalinar just like kicks his arm, and he drops it, and then he summons it again, and he just like kicks his wrist,
and slaps his wrist,
just breaks his breastplate.
Dalinar is just like totally messing this guy up. I could have killed you anytime. The guards out there are not your men; they're mine. You know.
Yeah, this is like the scariest Dalinar has been, in my opinion. He's like putting pressure on his back. He's like, I can kill you, crack your ribs, you know, squash your heart like a grape, but now you know you can trust me. Isn't that great? And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, but effective. Turns out that Elokar did cut his own strap, which is why he was so certain it had been cut all along. Also, why he knew who did it.
Right.
For obvious
reasons. And the whole reason he did it was because he didn't think they were taking it seriously enough, and he wanted people to, you know, look into it more, and he was like, "Do you realize how much you messed up for everybody by doing that?" And he's like, "Oh, I guess." And but he does think that somebody is actually, out to get him. Like he thinks that he, maybe that face in the window or whatever. And he's like, "Well, you're gonna make me High Prince of War, and everybody's gonna hate you, so everybody's gonna kill you. So you can take peace in knowing that you probably got a bunch of people looking for you."
But on the bright side, I will increase your guard, which is what you wanted.
And I'll find out who that person you're talking about is. Pretty good deal. And Alucard's like, "Okay, fine, I'll do whatever you want. I'm a weak little guy."
And then as Dalinar is about to leave, everything is resolved. He says, "Oh, also, I'm banging your mom. All right, bye."
All right, see ya. And Alucard, that's the thing he reacts the most shocked to or whatever. And he says he's going to unite all the High Princes, to himself by forcing them to follow the codes. And Alucard's like, "Don't you have to just live by example and hope that they do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, but they're acting like children. We gotta teach them what's right until they figure it out for themselves."
I tried that and it didn't work. Okay.
Yeah. And then at the end, Dalinar's like, "I'm uncertain about everything, but I do everything right because I'm the coolest character, so it'll probably work."
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Right. Just loads the codes up and is gonna start shooting in people's mouths.
Yep.
That's it.
It was cool. It was very cool. Wow, loved that reading. What do we have to read next week? I can tell you without even looking at my phone because it's just the rest of the book.
The rest of the book.
Just read all the pages that are left, and then you're done. You're good to go.
And it's a very short section.
Yeah.
And then into book 2 we go.
Not a blinga.
Nary a pause.
What are you thinking of the Stormlight Archive so far?
Oh, so good. I knew it would be. I had no doubts, but it was even better. I mean, it's interesting in that it feels different from other Brandon Sanderson books in a lot of ways, but I'm like, oh yeah, this is his magnum opus. He's taking his time.
I think the first book here of the Stormlight Archive, and I'll have to reevaluate this as we read the next two, but I think that this might be my single favorite Brandon Sanderson book.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
I dig it. There are some things Brandon Sanderson does really well about just he has a number of characters who just kind of BS their way through situations and act really important, and other people are on board with it, and and that's fun to read, right?
Yeah,
that's fun,
right?
And I love the way that Kaladin does it because it's not even deliberate. He's not trying to manipulate people, right?
They just out of necessity, like him because he is actually a cool dude.
Kaladin is just somebody needs to be doing this stuff. Why is nobody doing this stuff? Kaladin does this stuff, and everyone's like, "Geez, he's acting so important. I guess he's in charge now."
Right? Yeah.
And it's not like he's trying to trick these people.
Not until that last chapter does he actually use his stature to actually do things. But even then, he's not really. He's still doing it because somebody has to do it.
I mean, yeah. Well, it's not like in Kaladin's mind,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna act important, and then these guys are gonna be tricked into believing me. Kaladin is just genuinely doing so. He's like, why is nobody else doing this? Fine, I'll do it.
Right. And it just keeps going well for him, even when it doesn't.
Kaladin's just this total baller. Brandon Sanderson also does kind of the started at the bottom. And then it somehow got worse.
Real Cinderella story kind of going on.
And then this massive, long, slow burn, redemption arc stuff, kind of.
It's good.
And I thought that this book just did all the stuff Brandon Sanderson already does good, really good.
And it was.
And I love all of the little hints that are dropped all over the place, and that stuff is going to come in hot over the next 9 books in this series.
Right.
It's just very cool.
And it was kind of fun to read a book where the magic system was way in the backseat, at least for right now. Because I started off on Mistborn. Well, I started off on Elantris, but either way, at the heart of both those books, the magic is the whole thing, and it's like that from the get-go. And I imagine that as a big, holding here. But at least for this, it was all just very character and plot. Doesn't really need the magic except to carry out those things.
Yeah, I like it that good. In this book, as well, we know, because Brandon Sanderson has said so, that we're only through, most of the first book of a 10-book series.
Yeah.
Right? But it also feels like it, right?
Oh yeah.
He's dropped all of these little hints about all of these
the big bad guys.
Big bad guys, Night Watcher, all this stuff. And all of these schools of radiance and all of these powers that we've just gotten just little tidbits about.
Right. Yeah.
And it feels like there's still so much more to this world.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like there's still so much room for all of these characters to progress, right?
But it was a very hook into the universe. I'm like, oh yeah, tell me all the things. I'm here for the ride,
And that's what
Take your time.
I like that feeling, right? There are some books let's say, for example, even the first Harry Potter book, you know, where you get to the end of that one, and it could have been a standalone, right? If it wanted to, it could.
Like they mentioned the big bad guy like once or twice, you know, but for the most part, most of the strings get wrapped.
Harry Potter was actually kind of a bad example. Harry Potter wasn't that bad. I kind of panicked.
Sure.
Quick.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
This just it was the start of a big epic series, and it feels like it, and I like that.
Yeah.
You know.
It reminds me of the inheritance cycle in a little bit. It's like I like how it feels like a long epic story. You know, you're just like living through it with the characters and everything. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And so we're in it for a long time because book 4 is coming out whenever it comes out.
November. Presumably.
Yeah, and we'll be ready for it when it does. And then when the 5th book comes out, apparently that's when a bunch of stuff is getting tied up. But then, you know, that's like we're only halfway there.
Yeah, we're having a little mini.
Our intermission.
Yeah, we're having a big like series-ending climax, but then presumably in book 10 there'll be an even bigger, even more series-ending climax.
Entire series wrapped up. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I don't know. I kind of dig that.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that too. I think that makes sense. It's like it's kind of crazy that Brandon Sanderson. He's like, okay, I have the projects I'm working on, but he like updates his blog and everything. He's like, I have a lot of books that I need to write before I'm gonna die, so we really gotta like plan this shit out.
Yeah.
And so he's like, got a plan for it, So.
Well, and in this series, he even talks about how like he wants to tell different characters' backstories, right, over the course of the series. He even talked about how like, yeah, I was gonna do that in book 3, but I decided to move it to book 4, or like whatever. And it makes it sound like actually a lot of the stuff that he wants to establish and get through within this series is all kind of like fluid almost, right?
True.
It's like it almost doesn't really matter which specific book he puts it in, right? And it almost makes it feel like the first 5 books are all going to be one book, and then the next 5 books are all going to be a second book, and it's really just a 2-book series.
Right.
It just so happens
it would just
that,
be too unwieldy to read all together.
Each of those books is like a million words long, or whatever.
Yeah. They're all, each book is 5,000 pages, and that's just, that'd break a bookshelf.
Yeah. All right.
But it's exciting.
Yep. So that wraps it up for this a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We can't wait to finish this novel.
Yeah. So this next section will be kind of short. So we'll finish up, talk about the sections, talk about the whole book, presumably. Kind of put that on the shelf and.
The last episode of book club that we record in the same room.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Oh man.
Oh, big sad.
Shucks.
Oh, jeez. Brings a tear to your eye.
But hey, let's end this one, huh?
Okay.
Say the words, John. Say the words.
Not now. Not now.
No, say some words.
Oh, okay.
Say some words.
Elephant.
That'll
Pancake.
do. All right. Hey, have some cool powers. Neato. Goodbye.
Bye.